decided to book a trip from the UK to Rome, to Genoa, to Barcelona and back to the UK, all by ourselves, without the help of a travel agency. No package deals here, just the internet and my overly confident ability to sniff out a deal. How much did it cost? And how much cheaper would it have been to buy a package deal next time? Let's find out. It all started when we saw a cheap MSC cruise offer on Seascanner. If you don't know, Seascanner is a comparison site that searches and shows cruise deals across a range of cruise lines, from cruises from as little as £37 for a night with 2 ports of call. We found a 2-night cruise inside cabin deal from Civitavecchia, which is the port for Rome, to Barcelona, stopping at Genoa along the way. We decided to add on the premium drinks package upgrade, and the total cost came to £269, which was £134.50 per person. After booking, MSC gave us the option to make a bid for a cabin upgrade to a balcony. We submitted a bid for £120, which was £60 each, which was the lowest we were allowed to bid. We found out a couple of days prior to the cruise that we'd been successful and our new cabin was to be a restricted balcony view, but more on that later. We now had a cruise booked from Rome to Barcelona, and needed to get from the UK to Rome to embark. As anything can go wrong with public transport, especially here in England, we didn't want to risk flying out the morning of our cruise, as one small delay could mean missing the ship. Therefore, we decided to fly out the day before, which would give us around 24 hours to explore the port of Civitavecchia. We booked one-way flights with EasyJet for a combined total of £148.45, which came to £74.22 per person, which included 2 carry-ons and 1 hold bag up to 23 kilos. The flight got us into Rome Fiumicino Airport at 10 AM, which gave us plenty of time to get to the port of Civitavecchia. Upon exiting the airport, you'll notice you have a few different options for onward travel. A direct shuttle to Civitavecchia using a company called My Safe Place Transfer, which will set you back around £25, but based on a Google search we quickly found out that there are better and more cost-effective options. Plus, the warning when attempting to check their website was a bit of a red flag. Instead, we booked a shuttle transfer to Rome Termini Central for £7 per person, which took around 30 minutes. Conveniently, the shuttle drops you off at the central train station, which was perfect for our connecting service to Civitavecchia. As trains run regularly throughout the day, we decided to take a quick walk around the local area and pick up a tasty gelato from Terra Gelato, which had a great selection of dairy-free options before catching our train. Navigating the train station in Rome was challenging, as the platform information was not available on the overhead monitors, and the main information screen said the platform was going to be announced 10 minutes prior to departure. Luckily, we spoke to a lady at the customer information booth who informed us that the trains to Civitavecchia usually depart from platform 27 or 28. She was right, as when we got to the platform, the train was there and just a few minutes away from departing. Buying tickets from the automatic ticket booths is also a breeze, as you can select your preferred language and destination. All in all, the tickets from Rome to Civitavecchia came to around £4 each, making the shuttle and train significantly cheaper than the My Safe Places direct bus. Plus, we got to explore a little of Rome along the way, and the train journey was a comfortable 1 hour and 20 minutes, and we got some lovely sights of the Italian coastline as we travelled. Translated to English, Civitavecchia literally means ancient town. In fact, the whole territory of Civitavecchia is dotted with the remains of Etruscan tombs, an ancient civilization that inhabited Etruria, or Tuscany as we call it today. The elegant pebble beachfront is also a treasure trove for sea glass hunters, but that's a story for a different video. Civitavecchia is also home to the Museum of Natural Architecture, which was built by Pope Clement XIII in the 18th century. Also known as the City Museum, it preserves the main historical and archaeological testimonies of the city, including artifacts from the territory, both from the coastal sites and from the mountains of Tolfa. The cost of entry is £2.50 per person, and you can expect to spend an hour or so walking around the rooms over 2 floors. Observe statues such as the god Apollo, a reproduction of Athena, Parthenos, also known as Athena the Virgin, dating back to the mid-2nd century, along with ancient pottery and bronze artifacts, and some examples of Etruscan bucero, a class of thin black ceramic made by the Etruscans to realize decorative vases. The museum opens from 8:30 AM to 7:30 PM, Tuesday through Sunday, and is closed on Mondays. After a mooch around the museum and a short sea glass hunt on the beach, we decided to grab a bite at the La Lisca restaurant, which we were pleasantly surprised to find offered a dairy-free carbonara. The restaurant offered beachfront seating and served some great locally caught food and delicious wine, which we enjoyed as the sun began to set on the day. We stayed the night at the Hotel Mediterraneo, which we booked in advance, costing us approximately £69 for the room, £34.50 each, not including breakfast or the £7 city tax, which we paid on arrival. The room was comfortable, but we didn't expect 5 stars. We booked the hotel due to its location, as it was within walking distance of the port and the train station, meaning we could save on transfers. The next morning we awoke ready to join the MSC orchestra. As a savvy saver, we opted to walk from the hotel, which took around 30 minutes, but there is a shuttle service available which you can pick up from the train station and other stops around town. The MSC Orchestra was built in 2007 as one of the older ships in the MSC fleet. It holds 2,550 passengers and 987 crew members, 16 decks, 8 of which hold cabins, 3 swimming pools, 5 restaurants, 11 bars and lounges, a gym, spa, casino and theatre, along with a kids zone complete with arcade. As previously mentioned, we upgraded to a restricted view balcony, and here's what you can expect if you get one too. Our balcony was located on deck 9, which meant our view below was slightly restricted by the lifeboats. And that's it. In all honesty, the view was fine. You may find that booking a restricted cabin puts you in one of those cabins slightly set back in the corner, meaning you can only see out in one direction. But those are the breaks, and that's why they're cheaper. One thing we noticed on board MSC Orchestra was that the daily entertainment seemed a little light. We'd recently got back from a Norwegian cruise on board P&O's Iona, and their entertainment schedule was vastly superior. On board the orchestra, however, there was much less to get involved in during the day. The lounges, bars and restaurants were all well maintained and definitely didn't show signs of age or wear. The wine bar was our personal favourite location as it had the best selection of wines and draft beers. Deck space was plentiful and at no point did we feel that we couldn't get a place to sit and relax. Getting drinks from the bar, however, was a laborious process. We found bartenders were slow to acknowledge guests and slower to make drinks, especially cocktails. There were waiters that walked around who took your orders, meaning you didn't have to get up, but these guys were sporadic at best and equally slow to bring your drinks. With that said, we did have a great experience on board, and other than that, the staff were fantastically attentive to everything we needed. During our 2 nights on board, there were theatre shows on both nights at 8 PM and 10 PM, and these, as you'd expect, were brilliant. There were also live singers, bands and duos performing in the main lounges after sail away. We didn't see any bingo advertised, but we did notice a few quizzes during the earlier part of the day. MSC is known for its pizza and its pasta. It even boasts pizza ovens and handmade pizzas in the buffet. If pizza and pasta aren't your thing, you'll find a good selection of other cuisines from Chinese to Indian, and even a roast carvery available. Drinks at the buffet were limited to water, tea, coffee and a selection of juices from the machine. However, we found that it was a bit touch and go as to whether the machines were switched on, and on more than one occasion there were no clean glasses or mugs available. Upon embarking, you'll receive your cruise card, which will automatically have assigned you a main dining room table and time for each night. We opted for anytime dining at the point of booking and were given a 7 PM time slot. This negated the need to make a reservation. We were booked in on both nights of the cruise, but we only attended on one occasion. The food was okay, but my seafood dish wasn't too appetizing. If you're up to date on your history, you'll be shouting, "Ah yes, Genoa, the birthplace of Christopher Columbus." If you're like me, you'll have looked ahead at touristy things to do and be shouting, "Ah yes, the Fantacinema Museum, a film enthusiast's paradise." According to Musée di Genoa, it's the only one of its kind. For the small entry fee of £5, you can immerse yourself in movie history and nostalgia. The museum houses movie memorabilia and collectibles, some rare, from hundreds of motion pictures from years gone by. At every turn you'll see something that sparks a memory of when you first saw that certain movie and the great time you had watching it. There are wonderfully detailed displays showcasing figurines, carefully crafted models, old-fashioned movie posters and memorabilia, and much more. If you're a fan of films, you won't be disappointed. You can walk to the museum from the ship in around 25 to 30 minutes, which I did in the rain. Or there are bus and taxi options, but these will obviously cost you more. Allow at least 1 hour to fully experience everything the museum has to offer, but be advised they only accept cash payments, or they did at the time of my visit. There is, however, a conveniently located ATM nearby which was easy to use if you need to withdraw money. As the movie museum only took around an hour to experience, unless you're heading back to the ship for an early buffet lunch, you'll likely be looking for something else to do. Well, fear not. The largest maritime museum in the Mediterranean is conveniently located, about a 15-minute walk from the ship, and it has a submarine that, if you're not opposed to tight spaces, you can explore. The entry fee to the museum, which includes entry to the submarine, is around £16 per adult and £4 per child. There are family rates too, but you'll need to ask the friendly staff on the desk when you arrive if you're travelling in a larger group. Upon entry, you'll be told to return to the ticket office after you've explored the exhibits to collect your hard hat, as you'll not be able to enter the submarine without one. The hard hat is free, and you just need to return it before you leave. The museum itself is spread out over 5 floors with 31 different galleries, and depending on your walking and reading speed, could easily take a couple of hours to fully appreciate. Among the exhibits are 5 full-scale and immersive reconstructions that you can explore. The Galata opened in 2004, the same year that Genoa was selected as the European City of Culture. The submarine was built in 1976 by Fincantieri for the Italian Navy, but decommissioned in 2002. And now sits moored up in the bay outside the museum. Walk through the narrow corridors of the sub and wonder how humans might have lived in this small cramped space for long periods of time. Take comfort in the fact that the living space on board is smaller than your tiny cruise cabin, and by comparison your ship's washroom is akin to a 5-star suite. The walk through the vessel is short but uniquely impactful, but as previously mentioned, if you struggle with tight spaces, you may want to give it a miss. The beauty of cruising allows you to see many places in a single trip while simultaneously not having enough time to fully explore the places you visit. Although bittersweet, it definitely swings more towards sweet than bitter, as a short visit to many locations will give you a good idea as to whether you'd like to return for an extended visit. Genoa is a city that simply cannot be seen in one single day, and if you're looking to venture out beyond the port, you can find a treasure trove of wonder. Genoa is often regarded to as the city of palaces due to its many historical palaces and mansions. You could also pay a visit to Boccadesi, a picturesque fishing village located just outside Genoa. There is also an aquarium, the Genoa Carnival, if you're there at the right time of year, the football stadium, cricket club, and the Via Garibaldi, a street lined with historic palaces and considered one of the most beautiful streets in all of Italy. Our final port of call and disembarkation port was the most visited city in Spain, Barcelona, home of the Nou Camp, the famous aquarium, the Basilica de la Sagrada Familia, which if you want to visit you'll need a ticket, and as we discovered after walking 40 minutes from the hotel without one, advance booking is crucial. If you're like me and you don't tend to plan ahead, luckily there are a bunch of other wonderful attractions to experience that don't require pre-booked tickets, which we'll cover in just a minute. After we disembarked the ship, we took the ship's shuttle from the port to the marina, which took around 10 minutes and cost £2.50 per person. The bus drops you on the seafront, a short walk from many restaurants, street stalls and the beach. We didn't have any accommodation booked in Barcelona, as I insisted we'd get a better deal booking last minute. However, the morning we arrived in Barcelona, we booked a one-night stay in the Hotel Oasis, which was located near to the beach and a 20-minute walk from the shuttle drop-off. It cost £135, which was £60 more than if I'd have booked in advance. Top tip, book early for the best deals. After dropping our bags, we headed into the city to see the sights. As we were in Barcelona during Easter, we were able to take in the awe of the Santa Maria Basilica, right before Easter Mass. In the Middle Ages, the long periods of time it took to build a church, often more than a century, usually involved changes in architectural style. However, Santa Maria Basilica is an exception. It was built in just 55 years, from 1329 to 1384, and is the only surviving church in the pure Catalan Gothic style. Many of the city streets in Barcelona are narrow and densely packed with wonderful eateries, churches, buskers, all drenched in a steep history. Every turn offers something new to explore. We really enjoyed just walking around, not knowing what was around the next corner. It could be a building dating back centuries, a bustling tapas restaurant, or even a vegan bakery, which we couldn't help but stop and buy a snack at. If you're staying in Barcelona on a self-catering basis, you won't be short of food, and supplies, as there are local supermarket stores littered all over the city. We couldn't walk 10 paces without seeing one. As mentioned, if you don't manage to secure entry to the big ticket items in Barcelona, there is still much to do. Step into the Off Museum, an immersive experience to discover Barcelona's culture like a local. The White Rabbit Museum is located a short walk from La Pedrera and Casa Batlló, in the heart of the city. There are 10 unique rooms which showcase 10 unique visions, bringing culture to life through the Barcelona artists who reinterpret it. Each room is totally immersive and stimulate more questions than answers, with each room becoming more intriguing than the last. Admission is around £12 per person, with discounts for families and groups, and additional discounts if you pre-book online. The exhibit is open daily from 10 AM to 8 PM, with last entry at 7 PM, and it'll take around an hour to make your way through all the exhibits. If you visit Barcelona, you'll likely hear people talk about La Rambla, also known as Las Ramblas, which is considered Barcelona's most famous and vibrant street, a bustling pedestrian boulevard that stretches 1.2 kilometers from the Plaça Catalunya to the Old Port. It's home to street performers, stalls selling various souvenirs and items, restaurants and shops. It's a pedestrian-only area, making it a great place to linger and take in the sights. As with all busy tourist areas, make sure you keep your personal belongings close to hand, as pickpockets do operate in the area. As we were there during Easter, we were lucky enough to witness La Barreta, a religious procession that starts and ends at Plaça Sant Osti, passing through La Rambla, although it did make passing through for us quite a challenge. As we were staying at the Oasis Hotel, which was but a few minutes walk from Barcelona Beach and San Miguel Beach, we had to check them out. After all, one can never have enough sea glass. Barcelona Beach is the most popular beach and most central beach to the city, known for its lively atmosphere, proximity to restaurants and bars, and its accessibility. You can enjoy the beaches any time of year for a stroll, or to linger at the cafes and terrace restaurants. The water is crystal clear, and whether you want to sunbathe, swim, or soak up the atmosphere, you won't go far wrong with this little hotspot. Oh, and for those fellow sea glass enthusiasts out there, pickings were slim. Our flight back to Bristol, which we booked prior to setting off, was £69.85 per person, which again included one check-in bag and 2 carry-on. The bus departed from the centre, which was around 20-minute walk from our hotel, costing us £6.40 each. We booked annual travel insurance cover, as we like to get away a lot, for around £19.81 each. The shuttle back from Bristol Airport was prepaid, as a return ticket, which cost £7.50 per person, was valid for up to 30 days. So all in all, our entire trip, including the hotel stay in Bristol, which was £40 per person prior to flying out, ended up costing us £550.78. And for that, we got a 2-night cruise, 3 hotel stays, return flights, entry to 4 attractions, along with shuttle transfers. Our entire trip lasted 5 nighs, which works out at approximately £110 per night. All food and drinks were included on board the ship, but we did eat out a few times. I don't think we got a bad deal here. It was relatively easy to book everything separately, and we'll definitely keep an eye out for future deals that will enable us to build our own getaway again. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced something similar, or indeed built your own holiday getaway and found some amazing deals.